Welcome back. It's a brand new season of CGL.
This is just an absolute treat. These players are so damn good.
The talent on these teams is undeniable. Everybody on every team right now is making plays.
It's going to be an exciting start to the season, and it'll just get better from here on out.
We're about to step to a whole new era of Overwatch esports. So much exciting action is happening here on CGL that you do not want to miss.
Look who's starting it all off. It's Raven. No one necessarily figure out what is the right way to go just yet.
What a nice roll through him. It's just going to solidify everything for Mythos.
Does come back, and Arsario gets the mech, but I don't need a mech. I'll kill 4 anyway.
This is just a highlight reel for Arsario right now.
They're making a statement in the EU Masters here.
This patch is still incredibly fresh. There's so much to learn, so much to change about the way we play the game.
NKC with the shatter is colossal.
Let's get it going.
Trades keep coming through. Laura, is he going to be able to find these shots true?
Idu on the overclock with 2.
Here comes an Annabelle, immediately comes back, like fine skills, slicing and dicing their way through 2, 3, so back and forth.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to CGL Season 14. The final week of the regular season continues here in the EU Masters tier. We've got Tesla versus a Munich eSports Mythic. Megalas, you ready to get this one rolling?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, this final week here. These two teams, maybe not the highest stakes in the world. The math has already been mathed. Neither of them will be seen in the postseason. But this is more of just a beef between these two teams to sort of look at and say, okay, which of us is better than the other? And it'll be interesting to see, right? Especially when you have nothing to play for like that, except just the pride on the line. It could result in a fun matchup.
Yeah, I mean, both these teams, pretty close in the standings, if I'm not mistaken. Both sitting at 3 and 4. So, one trying to get to finish at parity on the season. So they're pretty even in terms of their performance here over the course of this season. So regardless of whether these teams can make the playoffs or not, I agree. I think that this game could be a pretty close one.
Yeah, definitely going to be fun watching. It's been so interesting here in EU Masters, right? I think the the different games, different styles that we've seen approach, whether people are trying to stick with these hard metas of the Juno Brig, or if they're, branching out, creating their own thing with what they're feeling. Ultimately, it just comes down to, what people are feeling on the day, it seems, and it allows for those chaotic, fun matches we love to watch.
Yep, but we are a little bit behind schedule already, so why don't we go ahead and introduce our teams here very, very quickly. First up, we'll say Tesla? Sure. Ultimix, Chris on the DPS, Tommy Knight on the tank, Scarlet Snow, and Astral in that back line for Tesla. Not much to say right now, right? I don't personally know much about Tesla. They are, trying to get to parity on the season. So, look for them to, have a pretty good matchup here with our other team in Munich eSports.
Yeah, definitely, And as we're getting a look at them on the other side of here, you have Drummer Brunch, Mazirik on that DPS line, Sino on tank, and then Mylu in Lurakia on that support. And again, it's just sort of these comfort picks that you're going to see come out a lot here in the EU Masters here. These teams, they've built their identities all season long around what they want to play. And, that's not going to change here, right? So whether they conform to, standard metas, whether they go off the beaten path, you see things like the Reinhardt come out, potentially even the Ramatra as being highlighted by Sino here, would be an interesting one for sure. But, it is just sort of that wait and see game.
I could not agree more, as I'm trying to pull up the map pool right quick, but my fingers don't work so good sometimes. But Lijiang Tower, Blizzard World, Hanaoka, New Queen Street, Rialto going to be our set map pool for this week. The final week of the set map pool, that is. And this is a pretty varied, map pool here. A bunch of different things can be run on these maps. Lijiang Tower is kind of that rush capital that we all and love. Blizzard World, you can play dive. I like poke a lot on Blizzard World as well. Hanaoka, I don't know, do what you want. It's kind of a pick your own adventure. Rush is pretty damn good, but I've seen some good Winston, Wrecking Ball, Diva played on Hanaoka. And then New Queen Street and Rialto, they are also in that same vein, very, very close. And did you know that you can shoot those pumpkins and break them off the heads of the astronauts?
I did not know that, but why would you want to do that? You're going to ruin the spooky atmosphere, break a couple of pumpkins? Think about the poor janitor that has to clean up that mess, Fletch.
It's not my job. He's got to pick up bodies too, so...
no, surely like the teams come through and clean up their own bodies as they go through the maps. But hey, we'll leave that to the people in the back room to figure out. Starting off on Control Center, you expect this to be a brawl-centric point here, and Tesla is certainly showing that. But on the other side of things, Munich eSports, this is pretty much a dive comp. The Doomfist is going to go in really aggressively here, try to sync up with the Genji for some quick picks.
Alright, right in here to the Control Center. Sin looking for their opportunity to engage. He's somebody a little bit off there, but Astral going to be able to jump over that Doomfist. And somehow Scarlet is just able to survive there. The double jumps a little bit too much to keep up with, and as Mazirik goes down, the engagement tool for Munich eSports is all but essentially gone. Junior Dan is able to dash through Chris there, and even with the Zombra going down, it'll be Munich eSports able to stabilize here as Tommy tries to pull down the Genji. Not much going to be coming out of that. Without that Nemesis home, it's going to be very difficult for Zerg to return to the fight. Tommy, last man standing. It'll be Munich eSports grabbing the first flip.
Yeah, getting that first flip in a very chaotic fight where they lost that Sombra early on, but they're able to hold on like and he's done the work. It really is about thinking up what they're doing this year. And now, look at the pressure from Munich. This is
Sin, backing up now, not wanting to get a little bit overextended there. Hasn't, put up those hands, and Sin, just not really waiting, trying to find the opportunity to go in. It's a slam comes down. It's going to be on the air, but Mazurk in the backline has dispatched of Chris early, so that is going to be an excellent start for this fight for Munich eSports. Punch comes through, knocks a couple of players back, but no casualties induced from it. Lureika gets stunned out of the teleport. Some classic Kiriko things there. Unfortunately for Munich eSports. Tommy still, though, on this Orisa, trying to stay alive as long as possible. And with my loot going down, that should be a little bit easier. Lureika chased down, spear to the wall, taken out. It'll be Tesla taking over here.
See, clips like that right there, when people are like, oh, Orisa's a no-skill hero, that's why I want to call bull on it. You know, we saw those massive spears connecting, making sure those players were pinned into walls, as well as the follow-up, right? Tommy Knight kind of going in as a solo agent, you know, and it worked to varied levels of success. When you leave that Doomfist in your backline, it's such a gamble to make sure the rest of your team can actually dispatch it and not get, you know, rolled over by it here. But now, we'll have to see if they can do that again now that Tesla's on the engage.
Well, Mazurk, like I can probably see that this person is still getting used to how to play Sombra in this new age of her. Goes down first, and with the Terra Surge from Tommy Knight being in there, with the Terra Surge, it's not going to be very good here for Munich.
No, and again, I mean, the Sombra keeps getting caught out time and again, and it's just sort of the rough life of Sombra players nowadays with how she's been changed. You can't really be this, you know, flanker like a Tracer again. You have to sort of be with the brunt of your team and go for those flanks when you see him with the EMP.
EMP, very, very big. That's 4 players hit by that EMP from Mazurk, followed up by Junior Dan with the Dragon Blade. Munich takes back over of a massive ultimate combo.
I mean, yes, but it was a massive ultimate combo, right? That EMP, Blade, and the Kitsune Rush all were thrown into that one. Tesla holds on to their ultimate, so they're coming into this with both DPS ults as well as their supports. Both are going to have a chance to increase the damage of this Cassidy, as well as this Death Blossom walking forward with an orbital ray is terrifying.
Yeah, Sin has to escape. Ultimate's going to TP into the backline with this. Death Blossom ready to go. Not going to use it there. Going to wraith back out and back up to the point, but there weren't any real big casualties, so Munich is going to be happy to head right back into the fray. Drop Chris down. The kite was perfect, and they're coming back in and winning this fight, but Ultimates has decided to take it into their own hands too with the Death Blossom. Sin trying to stay alive, has the Meteor Strike, but cannot get away, and Munich looked like they had it in the bag, but Tesla brings it back out.
Yeah, I mean, just barely. A 2v2 situation that's finally being cleaned it up, but it created this stagger effect for Munich here, so now they're having to run into the point without members.
Deadeye from Chris going to claim Mazurk. Sin still having this Meteor Strike ready to go. Gonna pop it here, gonna drop onto some heads. Gonna knock a player into the wall. Astral is the victim there. Chris not going to be claimed by that punch, and unfortunately Sin has very little in the way of cooldowns right now. Gets them back up here very, very promptly, and the dive there onto Scarlet Snow is going to be good for that. EMP comes out, stops the Terra Surge, and Munich is not done, but they gotta touch the point!
That's absolutely tragic. Investing the EMP, the Kitsune Rush, the Meteor Strike, all of it in the kitchen sink into a cleaned up 0-1 fight. But because of how long that overtime was going, you gotta remember that tick will bleed quicker and quicker. And blink and you miss it. Everybody stepped off at just the right time. And Tesla thanking their lucky stars for a gifted round win.
That's rough. I mean, Munich had a very, very strong chance at winning that entire round, but just a critical error right at the finish line. Junior Dan off of the Genji now, though, over to the Sojourn. A couple of swaps up here. Scarlet Snow and Astral on the Brig Ana now, instead of that Brig Juno that they were on before. So a couple of big swaps as we head over to the night market. Engage going to come in from Sin, but Jordan has dropped the first player. Tommy Knight backed out around the corner, hacked up, but it's not going to be anything good here for Tesla as Munich is coming for revenge.
Yeah, I mean, they're going for it. They have some very good engages here. This dive composition working incredibly well for the side of Munich right now. It's almost like Tesla sort of letting them in, right? You're seeing a lot of times Tommy wants to get aggressive, but they end up getting aggressive alone. And so without that Orisa there to defend the rest of the team, they fall over like dominoes. So I feel like it's going to require more of a grouping effort from the side of Tesla to make sure that this dive doesn't get the value it's been getting.
Alright, hard engage there. Sin is anteed up, has the punch, not going to find a target with it. Going to back out here, but there is a trade. Larakia for Chris in this fight. Scarlet Snow boops that Sojourn away as Tommy Knight blends up Sin in the back line with that Spear Spin. Jordan 20 HP, not going to be able to escape as now Myloot looks to try and do just that as Tesla takes over.
Yeah, being able to take over there, and that's one of the times that Tommy Knight sort of going in alone in the backline ended up working out here. So, you know, it's going to be on the side of Munich again. They have to be quick with their engages. They have to recognize their windows of opportunity when this Orisa is separating herself from the rest of the team. Meanwhile, if you're Tesla, you can just sort of keep doing what you're doing, right? You see, while you're not, you know, winning it cleanly, you are winning the fights you need to get this point control.
Right, back in one more time. Here's Munich returns from the spawns. Looking to build something here, but the EMP will not get built in this fight. Mazir eats a whip shot there as Sin tries to live, as in Munich will just back up to spawn here promptly.
Yeah, just a quick reset, no reason to stagger yourselves out any further here. You're coming up on a heavy ult fight for both of these squads. You're looking, you know, towards everything, but Tommy Knight getting another pick is just going to delay this that much further for the side of Munich.
Dan and Sin here trying to get something as the Doomfist returns to the high ground. Gonna join their players over there. As you can see, Ultimix wants to get in there and, you know, get some information. They're gonna pop out of this high ground with the Kitsune Rush. Terra Surge is the answer, but Astral falls to the virus. The trade comes through, but the Nano Boost is not in play. The rally will be enough to stabilize for now, though, as Tommy Knight rips through the entirety of Munich eSports Mythic.
Yeah, now it's just a Doomfist and a Lucio trying what they can here. We're pulling Blade. Ultimate may want that one back, but hey, they chase down, they get some extra kills here, and with how late those deaths come through, it could result in Munich not being able to get a proper touch on this point.
95% now as Tommy Knight clocks Junior Dan in the face. Larakia gets the touch, and it'll be enough to activate overtime, but it won't be enough to keep them up, and that will do it here for map number 1 as Tesla pops the overclock. Chris and the rest of the team going to get the win here in map number 1.
A very solid win. Almost feels like it was gifted, right? The dive composition just was not working exactly how it should have for the side of Munich. It had its moments, obviously, right? But I think, you know, you saw a lot of the weaknesses of modern day Sombra on full display here. She's not really the best dive character anymore. She more fits in sort of a poke, almost brawl situation that you have to be running a very specific composition with her. Also, Tommy Knight was just getting absolute free reign on that Orisa. Way too much damage. The spears were connecting, doing the damage, followed up on with the fusion driver. I mean, and Orisa was just doing a lot. There's nothing else to say.
Yeah, I think it's also worth noting that I'm pretty sure Sin is not the typical starting tank for Munich. That would usually be Nox, if I'm not mistaken. So I mean, it's hard when, you know, you're coming into these matches not in the exact lineup that you would have liked. But still, they made it pretty close, all things considered, on both of those maps, right? Especially on Control Center, though. They probably win that if they do not hop off the point, you know? Obviously, we can't know for certain what that, you know, would have been if they had touched. And, you know, as I'm talking about that, we do have a substitution coming in for Munich. It's going to be Nox coming back into the lineup for Sin. So headed back to that typical starting lineup. Munich still having some fight left in them.
Yeah, and, you know, you expect people to go down swinging, right? Nobody should just roll over and give it up here. So that Doomfist, it's one of those things that could definitely be a practice strat for Li Zhong specifically. I see it faring very well on Garden. We just didn't end up getting there. So kind of unfortunate. You sort of write that one off, though. Heading into, you know, our next map, right? You put Nox in. Probably more reliable tank, can help you set up some better dives and things of that nature. You know, if that Winston profile picture is true, or worst case scenario, they mirror the brawl that we're seeing. Because again, right, it's not flawless from the side of Tesla right now. We're seeing moments where Tommy Knight is overextended on an island, and they've just yet to be able to capitalize and punish on it properly. So it should be a good adjustment here, especially on Blizzard World, where a lot of verticality is going to come into play, especially in terms of your positioning. So this could be a nice little map to flip it.
All right. Yeah, I agree. This is a very, very different map from the first one. Blizzard World, pretty flexible on what you can play. I like the dive, like the poke. If you want to run that Sigma, I think that is a very, very good shout. But if I am the side of Munich coming in here for map number 2, get the substitution in on the tank. That's what I was thinking. Knocks on to the Winston here, and I mean, the Doomfist is, you know, good if you can line it up, but I think the Winston is just a little bit more consistent if you want to run these dive comps a little bit easier to set up and follow up.
Absolutely. You get the rest of the team behind you. Your engages are very clear, right? It's not sort of you're hoping wherever the punch momentum takes you. Unless there's some sort of disruption ability on the other side of things, right? Where a Winston plans to jump is where the Winston will land every single time. It allows easier setup for your DPS, allows your healers to know, hey, this is where I have to position to make sure I'm in line of sight of you to keep you alive and healthy. Meanwhile, on the flip side of things, Tesla, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
No.
Oh, no.
Okay. Mazur gets very lucky there. Almost caught out by Ultimix in that May. Nox very low though, has to drop the bubble back out, be very safe. Anti on it to the Winston as Chris gets that pressure placed on them, but Mazurk and Nox a little bit disjointed at the moment, sees that the Ana is very low but cannot follow up. Dive comes back through, but the first to fall is Mazurk. They're trying to chase down this Juno, which they do. Junior Dan able to track down that support player. But as Nox is so very low, that bubble is not going to help very much. The jump will, though, so they're going to be able to take down Astral, keep this fight rolling for Munich eSports, and somehow, some way, they're going to be able to wrench this fight out of Tesla.
I mean, yeah, it was just purely on Nox living there, right? Because again, Tommy Knight, very aggressive, very, you know, wanting to be in the face of this tank, and sure, that can work to a degree, right? But that leaves the rest of their team incredibly vulnerable. You saw the Ashe, the Ana both get pinned down, the Juno simply running for their life. That's one of the scary things about this backline. The Juno, Ana, they can't peel for each other as reliably, so it kind of can leave the Juno on an island if she can be found.
Nox waiting for their opportunity to head back up to this high ground, jump onto Astral. Gonna try and what a nice spear there from Tommy Knight to deny the jump there. Brig be damned, don't need one of those to be a counter dive hero, and they're gonna push Munich right back into their own spawn.
Back to the spawn, but you're seeing a very heavy ult fight coming up here for the side of Munich. Tesla just isn't quite there yet, a couple of percentage away, so it is going to be on Munich here to be the engagers, the enforcers of this fight, because they have this slight advantage right now.
And Dan is able to grab that pick on it to Chris with the pulse bomb. Ultimix able to escape the hack there, but with this orbital ray coming down and only 3 players on the field, it's not going to be very good here for Tesla, as Munich is going to be able to clean up these kills.
Yep, and the Orisa being hacked out of the Terror Surge, absolutely massive there. But, you know, this fight is pretty much in its staggered out phases here. The Reaper and the Orisa can only do so much. Their health bar is dwindling, so when you're looking towards this next fight, both teams have had to make some expanded efforts here. You're seeing Nox actually go over to the Ramatra now instead of the Winston, maybe feeling they're getting burned down a little bit too much. This adds survivability, but it does also make you a lot less mobile, right? You no longer have those dive engages. It's simply, you know, your DPS setting up to try to help you on that frontline war. So we'll have to see if this is a strategy that works out for Munich.
Well, that is not going to help. The hard engage tool, my loot goes down there. The Rakia follows very, very promptly after that, and those supports just died so fast the fight couldn't even happen.
And as you said, right, the Lucio speed is your engage tool to start these fights for the side of Munich, right? It's how you plan to close the distance, get onto the Sarissa, other members of the team. But now that we push into this specific part of Blizzard World Second, right, you're seeing how much that high ground comes into play. Munich, they have to pass towards it, right? They can't leave Chris sitting up here firing shots. They can't leave Ashel just doing free healing here. But there's just an Sarissa bodyguard.
And the EMP lands on 4. Mazirk goes down, and I mean, there's just nothing there to follow up. Even with the pick onto Tommy, it's just not enough.
It's just not enough. That EMP, you know, you thought it would be the ultimate deliverance there, but it just wasn't. So now you're seeing wholesale switches again here. You're seeing the Widowmaker as well as the Sojourn here trying to help play at that range, right? I mean, Tesla, their range isn't the best in the world, especially with a Reaper in play, but it just means that Tommy Knight's going to get aggressive and go forward.
Pick onto Dan immediately, and now Munich has to play it safe here. They cannot overextend. You see Mazurk has gone over to that Widowmaker looking for the pot shots as Munich await their Sojourn's return. Patient play here from Munich.
Yeah, patient play, take their time, do what they have to do, right? I mean, it's completely on the attackers right now. Nice little off angle from the Xeric, but you're going to need more of those, and you have to find it onto an actual pick here. Meanwhile, you are seeing Ultimate sort of hover around, ready for this Death Blossom to be delivered into the entire team.
Yep. And throughout that Venom Mine, not going to be too much of a problem for Ultimate, who's going to walk it down on to Mazirk. 3 shots, that Widowmaker is out of the fight. Sound barrier down from my loot. They've got a few ultimates here should they choose to use them, and they'll choose to invest, but they're down 2 players right now. My loot, Lurekia, and Nox trying to get through it, but that Kitsune rush in the face of the powerhouse that is Orbital Ray, it's just not enough.
Not enough indeed here, so now sent back to the drawing board once again here. Some more switches coming through. They have an Ana now on with my loot, and they're going to have their Juno as well. That's going to be their new speed engage potential here. The Death Blossom still being held for Ultimates here, but now on the other side of things, Nox having this massive annihilation here. If they can actually get a proper speed engage, maybe force it over to the payload as, you know, the payload's moved all the way back, now trying to take this ground war to give themselves the advantage.
Back up here for Munich, trying to get some of that free push as far as they can take the cart, but Mazirk having gone over to the Cassidy now, able to drop ultimates first in this fight. Tommy not prime the high ground. You see that anti onto Nox, who's very, very annoyed right now, pinned to the wall time after time. This damage reduction will only last for so long, but a little bit longer as the annihilation comes out. Overtime begins for Munich, but it'll be a trade 2 for 2 here, and the cap comes through. Tesla cannot get back in, and Munich will be able to keep their attack alive.
Yeah, able to get through onto that point 3, and they're going to have more tools to keep it rolling in their favor, right? That ball being expended is going to put Tesla a bit on the back foot here, especially with these late deaths, right? Some of the pain points here, this first and second turn of the third point of Blizzard World are notoriously difficult here, and it's going to be difficult for the defense to get everybody set up in the position they want to before that payload is already there.
Right. Point C begins, but only a minute on the clock and counting for Munich eSports. They need something big here if they want to finish with time, and that is exactly it. Mazirk on the Cassidy. Struggled a little bit before, but been absolutely excellent after having switched to that character. The Nano overclock, good for 3, and Munich pushing right up into the final area.
Yeah, pushing forward here, and you know, what was a stifled out push now results in them finishing the map with time in the bank here. Absolutely massive. Tesla, you know, It took them a while to get dismantled, but once they did, they really fell off guard. They didn't know exactly what to pivot to, and it showed terribly there. So Tesla now on their attack has to at least finish the map if they're hoping for extra rounds here, and still with a chance to take Blizzard World.
I mean, ultimately, and you know me, you're the Orisa apologist. I'm a Sombra apologist. She's just awful. she's so bad, and we saw Mazurk just get punished time after time after time, and the split second that Mazurk goes a usable character, Munich just starts to roll. Right? Sombra is just unusable right now. I genuinely believe that she is one of, if not the worst characters in the game at the moment. So props to Munich and Mazurk, because it's clear that Mazurk really wanted to play that Sombra. And props to them for saying, hey, we need to switch if we want to have a chance to win, because as soon as Mazurk switched over to the Cassidy, I mean, it was basically over.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, you just see the power that comes with a Cassidy right now. And so you're just absolutely able to play those mid ranges, do the massive amounts of damage that you want here. We are seeing a bit of a switch up though. Tesla has decided that they need to change their tune. You're probably going to see this, just a quick pop shot from the Widowmaker. Should not be a full commit hero here. Of course, I could be wrong. Maybe sensing the Widow duel that can come on the other side. But the Malga Bastion, this gives you extremely high burst potential, but it is burst, right? There's going to be a lot of downtime.
Oh, Mazurk and Jordan, the hit scan duo here for Munich. Finds one each. Chris trying to put some pot shots in, but Tesla, they're down 2. They need to back up.
Yeah, they need to back up. They need to reset going forward here into the fight. But Mazurek actually coming alive on this Widowmaker.
Yeah, now as those reinforcements return from spawn, Mazurk has decided to turn it up to 10. The shots are true from this Widowmaker, you know, on fire right now at the hands of Tommy Knight on the Malga. As you can see, Tesla wants to rotate it up to this high ground. They want to push up the staircase, and with Larekia going down, that is both supports dead for Munich eSports. They're just ripping through this roster as Mazurk claims 2 more before going down, as that'll be Tesla taking a point A.
Yeah, I mean, taking it in a very solid fashion here. You love to see it if you're the side of Tesla here. Munich coming in for a last second contest with Sojourn could make it, but nobody else, you know, able to really touch in time here. And actually, losing that Sojourn late could be disastrous, even with Mazurek trying to get picks here, as it's going to mean there's going to be a lot more contests for this high ground control.
Alright, back up Mazurek. Not missing too many of those shots, even with them in their face. From this far back high ground, looking for another target very, very quickly. Can't really see anybody. Nobody's coming around the main side of this track just yet. So finally, as people come out the left side, Mazurek will have some targets to shoot at. Junior Dan looking for essentially the same thing. And now in the back line, actually, a little bit too damn far for the Sojourn here of Munich eSports, and that will get the entire team punished.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't understand what happened to Junior Dan there, but there was some sort of reason that they ended up going that far forward and doing what happened, but it ultimately sort of left them a little bit shorthanded now in the fight, as this payload's going to keep on cruising. Tesla's going to have control of this high ground here. It's going to be very hard to dislodge Chris and this Bastion as they just get to sit up here and rain in the damage.
Munich coming back from spawn. Mazurek now on the Bastion. They need to touch the point, and they will. They're not going to let that mistake happen twice in a game. But this Kitsune rush with the Bastion and the Malga. Hey, Mega, I don't know if you know this, but that's a hell of a lot of damage to be putting out as Tesla rips Munich apart to take point B.
I mean, that's disgusting. There's no other word for it. That's absolutely disgusting to see here. from their side of things. So Munich eSports now sort of sent reeling right there over to the Sigma now, try to help deter some of this damage, right, eat some of it, give the rest of the team an opportunity to try to get in, right. They still have tools to work with, their own overclock as well as the Transcendence, should things actually become that desperate to keep everybody healthy, but we'll have to see exactly how that pans out for them.
Knocks on the Sigma poking out right now. Good to help out Mazurk with that mirror image in Ultimate. So the Bastion gone for Tesla right now as they're just trying to put some pressure on this point, get as much free meterage as they possibly can. Tommy with this cage fight ready to go. Ultimate's gonna drop their ultimate as well. Cage fight gonna come down and will claim Lurakia, and I mean there is a couple of players stuck in this cage fight, but with the Transcendence from Myloot, it's going to be enough to keep them up and fighting and pushing Tesla back away.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to keep them away for the time being here. This is the mark of a good defense right now that it's starting to go up here. Tommy Knight gonna go over to the Zarya now. This could be an interesting swap once you start building up towards some energy, even towards that Graviton, but I feel like we're going to be a ways away from that for the time being here. Munich definitely going to be a favorite in this fight. They already have that Bastion out, the artillery strike, waiting to find somebody caught off guard.
They're going to drop it down. This will be an interesting last little bit of time here for Tesla. I say little bit. There's still 3 minutes on the clock here. The Zarya very, very interesting here with the Kitsune Rush coming down. There's just going to... I mean, there's still a Bastion on that field. A lot of damage to be dealt by Tesla as they roll around this final corner.
Yeah, rolling around the final corner here, you're going to have to see if anybody can get out to touch the payload, and it does not seem like that'll be the case. Nox going to have to hold this, the Gravitic Flux, for the second, you know, round, Overwatch 3, whatever joke you want to make there. And Tesla now has over 3 minutes in the bank compared to Munich, who just has 1 minute to try to get something done.
That was brutal, right? I mean, Tesla just kind of knew what they needed to swap, right? Tommy Knight played three different tanks so far this map. In the Malga and the Zarya on the attack. Unfortunately, you're gonna find in, you know, these lower tiers like, you know, Masters, Diamond, people will not hesitate to shoot at Zarya's bubbles. And Tommy kind of took advantage of that fact in that last fight, where they just kind of farmed the 100 charge that they needed to rip people apart with the help of the Kitsune Rush as well. So now back onto the defense, we're going to see the Orisa come back out for them. In Munich, they're going to try and commit to this Sigma poke composition that they were on right at the end of their defense to try and see if it'll, you know, break them out and give them another chance on the second attack.
I mean, this is probably the best thing you could do, right? Simply because Tesla has shown so many looks, you don't know what they're going to be rolling out with. Giving yourself that shield gives Mazurek the best chance to find a pick on this Widowmaker, right? That's how you opened this up before. That's how your defense was going well for you at the start. It's going to be all in the sort of in the pocket of this Widowmaker right now, but I think Tesla's more than aware of it. You're seeing how split they're playing. The only person clearly available with their head exposed is the Orisa, who has that health bar to live a few of those shots.
All right, Mazurek looking for it. Not going to quite connect just yet. Speared to the wall. Mazurek waves hello. Going to find the shot, but cannot land it. Chris stuck on the point all alone, but gets the healing from the high ground. Dan on this high ground. Good for one. The disruptor shot very annoying, but not in any way a deterrence for Chris, as there's only 15 seconds left. And can anybody touch the point here for Munich eSports? It looks like probably not.
I mean, the Lucio speeding in, as long as they don't get speared or anything like that, Myloot should be able to at least trigger the overtime as you're seeing here, but it will cost them their life. So now it's the matter of what can Munich do, short a person already trying to figure it out.
Dan comes back into the point, gets the hack onto the Orisa, but it's just stagger after stagger here as the players from Munich come in, and it's going to have to be a draw or loss here for Munich eSports as Tesla holds on their second defense of point A. But they've got a monumental time bank to try and get a single tick here on point A.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be absolute perfection that Munich eSports now has to deliver on for their defense here. It's going to go beyond just one player, right? The whole team cannot make a single mistake. Everybody has to be in the correct positioning, making sure that, you know, somebody's contesting the point while making sure you're not giving up too much space, right? Because Tesla, they have time to work with, right? They can slowly approach this. They can, like, take each section of the map one by one using their abilities to clear it, then simply just wait, right? That's the beauty of having this massive, massive time bank that they do. It seems like they're in the attacker spawn, so I don't know if this Malga is real just yet. It definitely could be. We saw them run out on it the first time around here. But Munich, you know, looking on a standard sort of poke setup, right? They're going to have the Soldier and Sojourn. Say that 10 times fast without getting tongue twisted. But just being able to rein in the damage constantly, it should prove effective, especially against the Malga comp. But again, it's going to be all about this pathing, making sure that not too much damage is being taken, because Tesla, they just have the time to sort of take each individual area they need to.
All right, a very DreamHack Dallas sort of composition here for Tesla as we head into this second attack for them. We'll see. I mean, they had some great success on a similar comp earlier, so I am, you know, a little bit worried for Munich at the moment, right? We're seeing Tesla pathing up to this high ground, and Munich respects that, respects the damage, runs to the point to try and set up and see what they can do as Tommy just starts to, you know, poke out. Get a little bit of damage here and there. Gonna run up to this high ground where Lurekia waits, is able to get away. Tommy is antied. That cardiac overdrive will not mean much when you're antied. You're able to get joined in the backline though, and Nox is the one that goes down. A major overextension from Tommy Knight results in the death of the opposite tank. And now with the sleep onto Tommy Knight, I mean, Mazurk is able to keep this fight rolling for Munich, but eventually going down because Tommy will not. It will be one more player here on the point, and I mean, less than a percentage there, as they're going to move up. Only a minute and 15 seconds needed for Tesla as they claim the second map.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it was just an unfortunate thing there from Nox sort of getting caught out. They used the Nemesis Storm to get in, and it wore out just a little too quickly here. So now they're looking down the barrel of having to reverse sweep to take this series. Meanwhile, you know, Tesla, they're absolutely looking comfortable right now, right? We've seen them across a variety of compositions now. All still kind of brawl-centric, so maybe not the most diverse play style still yet, but they're looking calm, they're looking confident, they know what they need to do. Their pathing is looking absolutely amazing here, and it really is just pointing all signs to them right now.
Yeah, it's kind of rough after an unfortunate misstep, I think is the word I'm going to choose to use for what happened on Lijiang Tower for Munich. It's kind of snowballed. They're making some odd decisions and overextending a lot to try and get kills that they really don't need at the time. It's kind of rough. They're making some, you know, decent decisions, like getting Mazurk off of the Sombra. That's nothing against Mazurk. Sombra's just horrifically bad at the moment. So I respect the swap there. Mazurk willing to get off of that comfort pick, but right now, yeah, it's Tesla. They know what Munich is going to want to do and what they are going to do to stop it, right? So as we head into this break, Munich eSports Mythic, they're going to need to try to come up with something new to try and take down Tesla and, you know, at least begin to try the reverse sweep here. So we're going to cut to a short break, and when we come back, we'll see if they can do that. All right, welcome back, everybody. Right now, it is Tesla on a roll, snowballing here in this series, up 2-0. Right now, Munich is there. It's like it's close, right? All like this series for the most part has been pretty close through these first two maps, but it's just critical errors from Munich from time to time that are giving Tesla the opportunities that they need to pull ahead.
Yeah, I mean, those critical error, it's purely coming down to positioning a lot of the time. Sure, you could also argue that they could, maybe adapt a little bit quicker in some of these situations, trying to counter comp what they're seeing on the other side, right? Because Tesla is making plenty of mistakes themselves here in terms of overextension, isolating themselves, but it's yet to be a proper punish from the side of Munich onto Tesla here. So heading into Clash, we know that we're going to be heading into this mode where momentum is going to be the name of the game here. And Munich wants any chance to start this comeback. They're going to have to grab momentum early and then be able to hold on to it, right? Find those mistakes, continue to punish them. Otherwise, they're just going to see this series go by the wayside.
Yeah, and I mean it's all pride, right? This is important. Just it's this is a goodbye series for both of these two teams because I believe, like you said, mathematically, unfortunately they're both eliminated. So Tesla just wants to end on a high note right now, right? They want to end it soon and quickly. They don't want to try and let this slip away. Munich, on the other hand, right? They need to. I mean, it's just like they're making critical errors, but so is Tesla, right? Right now, it's just Tesla that's able to follow up on, take advantage a little bit better. So as we head into Hanaoka, I'm curious, like, what do we think we're gonna see here on Hanaoka?
I mean, I expect this to be full brawl from both teams, right? The Doomfist looks were fun, and variations of the poke with a Sigma are cool as well. But Clash is just a different beast, right? It is all about that momentum, all about that tempo upswing. You can't play slow, right? Unless you have like a Widowmaker or a Hanzo player who can get 5 picks every fight, which I don't think any human being in the world can. Somebody can go ask Proper, maybe see how he's feeling, but like that's the only way a poke composition would theoretically work in this Clash game mode. It's far too quick in your face to really warrant anything like that, and so these teams are gonna have to be able to adapt to that, right? It's gonna be all about their tempo and pacing in this map, making sure they can set up for these fights quickly, because giving the other team even a second could make all of the difference in terms of their setup, their aggression, and giving them back that momentum that's so crucial when you're going back and forth across this map.
Now we are getting ready to head into Hanaoka. Where is this?
It's a spawn room.
Oh, I guess I've never.
I lied. It's bus terminal. I didn't know there was a bus terminal on this map.
Yeah, that tells you how much I know about these maps, right? I haven't really.
This is the back spawn. This is the spawn room. I'm right.
No, this is the.
I'm being gaslit.
Yeah, the ethereal voice in our heads told us that it was something different than it was. So Megalas is currently crashing out about a voice y'all can't hear.
Nah, I'm used to it here, but one thing that is here is the Junker Queen. I like the setup. Big fan of the Junker Queen hero, but playing into the Orisa, again, it's gonna be a little bit rough. That regular matchup just on a hero basis, Orisa does have a lot of that advantage.
All right, into the back line goes Dan on this venture. Pressure on the point from Tesla as it unlocks. Mazirk on the Sombra. Not sure how I really entirely feel about that one. Tommy packed up, gets around the corner, stays alive and in this fight pretty damn well. Ultimate's getting burnt down very low, taken out for the moment. Tommy Knight shoved backward by the spear, and Munich eSports able to come out swinging here early on objective C, potentially, definitely gonna grab their first point here.
And this is what you want to see from Tesla, right? Being able to go and get aggressive and figure out, which target they want to isolate. And it's going to be Tommy Knight a lot of the time, right? We've seen it so far. Tommy likes to get a little bit too aggressive on this tank. beautiful adaptation so far from Munich, but they have to start replicating it, right? This can't be a one-off affair here. So it's just going to be, again, about finding that target out.
Alright. Objective B here as the aggression comes through, and my loot was so very low. Just not able to fully get that kill as the point unlocks. The entirety of Munich eSports Mythic is shoved into this very small room. Point progress being picked up here from the side of Tesla. They have a couple of ultimates here ready to go, or I guess rather only one ultimate, and it's not even going to be get to used as Nox grabs 2 picks, and Tommy has the rampage, but not even going to get a chance to pop that one either. That'll be 2 points now for Munich eSports.
Yeah, beautiful comeback from them in that fight, right? Things were not going their way, but they were able to turn it around here. And now the fabled point A, right? How do you approach this, right? Are you actually trying to flip it, get the kicks going here in your favor? Do you just simply give it up, right? We've seen tons of different strategies evolve around this point and just how difficult it is here. Not a real massive commit from Munich yet, even though they have pretty much every ultimate to work with. So it'll be interesting to see what they choose to invest and how hard they choose to go on this point.
All right. Back in Objective A here, all the way backed up into the Munich spawn, or rather the Tesla spawn, as Chris just explodes. There's a rampage ready to go, and the orbital ray comes down and rips through Munich. So Tesla going to be able to grab this point, but it was not without expense. 4 ultimates invested.
I was gonna say, the rampage did a lot, and I could see the orbital ray. I could see the point of it. The Kitsune Rush as well as the Blade were both just extra expense that did not need to happen. And if you're Munich, you're kind of okay with it, right? I mean, they literally just dumped the entire ult bank besides their Cassidy, and now you're coming into this with all 5 ultimates to fight again here on point B. Massive advantage. They just have to make sure not to squander it by not overinvesting themselves.
Well, it's 2 dead here for Tesla. And Astral is very low in the back line, does end up going down. Mazirk walking over to go and hack the Junker Queen. Tommy Knight picks up the kill as Ultimix dashes through there. So there could be a retouch here, and there will be a retouch as Tesla is able to find a couple of impactful kills here late in the fight. They're going to return to the point and try and at least take down Nox here.
I mean, yeah, but now this Deadeye with being tunneled ultimately comes up with nothing. Now the Terror Surge, the Orbital Ray, everything's here to be committed from Munich.
The Terror Surge does not find a whole lot as that Orbital Ray just progresses further and further into the side of Munich. I mean, this is not looking great, but as Chris finds another late pick, could be big. Unfortunately, Myloot there to clean up the Cassidy. And it'll be in point number 3 here for Munich eSports Mythic.
And, I mean, getting the momentum rolling, right? They're still keeping their foot on the gas in terms of not just their playstyle, but in terms of the ult bank, right? They still have a massive advantage. Tommy Knight, the only hope for Tesla right now with this Rampage online here, was able to deliver massively before, but again, you have to worry about being speared and things of that nature that can cancel it out, especially like a hack like you see there, because now the enemy team's aware this Rampage is ready to go.
So, I mean, you saw up there Lurekia's health bar was very, very low. So now looking for an opportunity to use this Rampage hack comes through again on it to the Junker Queen. Try to find something with that axe. Not going to connect on it to the Venture there. Still holding on to this ultimate, waiting, and I mean, they need to invest something. Berserk and Jordan, though, go down a little bit quickly, so maybe they don't have to as they take their second point and push Munich back over to B.
Yeah, and it was just an overextension, right? Jordan just goes in too far with that Venture, not able to escape, right? And so now you're seeing this push from Tesla, able to send everybody from Munich spiraling back all the way to point C, just so that way they have forward positioning, they have this advantage. But Munich, again, you built up the heavy ults now, actually for both sides, and we're going to have to see how this ends up being delivered on.
Well, Lareki is dead, so that's one of the ultimates out of this fight here early. Chris tries to escape, and the Dragon Blade gets pulled. Myloot is the one to fall as Tommy Knight and Ultimix follow up together. The Nano Boost and the Rally were also invested. They won this fight out, but once again, it was incredibly expensive.
Yeah, again, just these expensive fights are coming through for no reason for the side of Tesla. They have to start communicating a little bit better in terms of who's investing in what fight, but it seems like Munich's not done with this one.
Orbital Ray and EMP, and that's going to claim the lives of two. The Rampage comes out. Junior Dan using that tectonic shock. The Rampage will not claim a kill just yet. The rally from Myloot getting some of that health up a little bit, but as Tommy Knight is all alone and no bleed left to gain that healing, it's gonna be rough as Munich move to 4 points here on Hanaoka.
I mean, yeah, and now they're going to be in striking distance of finishing this out and getting a map on the board here. It's exactly what Munich needs. You know, heading back over to point A, right? You're putting so much pressure on the side of Tesla where, you know, they're not having a chance to properly get out of their spawn room, right? They're over-investing, and it's showing that they're maybe a little bit nervous, a little bit scared here of Munich.
As Chris with the overclock ready to go. Scarlet, though, chase it down, hunted by the Orisa, and somehow Chris doesn't die to the Terra Surge, and the overclock is good for a bunch of damage as it's Mazurka. That is all that is left here for Munich eSports Mythic, and Tesla are not done yet here on Hanaoka.
They're not done yet, but like I said, they have to be flawless from this point forward here. Tesla, you know, they're going to have to make sure they're not stacking these ultimates again. They're coming close to another Rampage. They'll have a nano boost as well here. Munich still a ways away from a lot of their ultimates. Probably going to get towards their orbital ray first, if anything here. But if they can find this pick onto an anti-Nox, this could be big to start.
Tommy Knight now, though, connecting with that knife, gonna pull it in. Mazurk for Ultimix early in this fight as Nox goes down. If they could win this fight out clean, no ultimates invested, they have a very good opportunity to win this map, headed right back to the center.
Yeah, but again, look how far forward Tommy is right now. There's members dying in the backline. It's not a clean fight. Tommy needs to get out of here before he gets staggered.
Backing up to the point now is Tommy Knight. It's going to be a retouch here from Nox, an investment with the orbital ray, the rally, and the Rampage invested. Mazurk the first to fall. Anti onto Nox here. They need to be able to follow up, but Scarlet Snow and Tommy both fall at the hands of Myloot. Junior Dan asleep in the backline. Nano boost thrown onto Chris. Ultimix has this Dragon Blade, and as much as I want to say that they shouldn't invest it, they may very well need it. Their life in this game is on the line here. Ultimix able to get back onto the map very, very luckily, claim the life of Mazurk. Can it go in here, still holding onto this Dragon Blade. The overclock ripped from a Chris, and it's going to be good for 2, so they're not done yet, but it's going to be a very, very close fight for Objective C to claim this map in its entirety.
I mean, yeah, and you're just looking at, in terms of raw ult advantage, right? A Terra Surge and EMP versus just the Dragon Blade. There's no nano, no anything. Pretty much the best win condition that Tesla has right now is if an anti can be applied onto any member of Munich, right? That member then has to be called out, and Ultimix has to be there with the blade. But even if you go in, even if you get that kill, you run the risk of being solo EMP'd, right? When you have this advantage from Munich, they can invest like that. They can make sure this EMP goes onto just one target as long as that target is eliminated.
I see that drill run, and I mean, very, very lucky that nobody died off the edge. The Dragon Blade is pulled, the EMP is ripped. It is a trade fest right now. Tommy Knight chased down on the low ground. It is just Scarlet Snow left, as there needs to be an incredible touch, but Chris, I lied. Chris is still alive here, finds the railgun shot there on it to Mazurk, hits another shot onto Myloot. This is not over yet. Scarlet Snow never died, so that rally is coming up very, very soon. Need to get rid of Larakia so that orbital ray is not an issue. Scarlet Snow dashing back across the back side. Very close to capping this point is Munich eSports, and even with the late touches and heroics from Scarlet and Chris, it will not be enough. Scarlet will end up falling here, and so too do the hopes of Munich, or rather Tesla, as Munich gonna grab their first map here of the series on Hanaoka.
Very close affair, very back and forth, but at the end, Munich able to get it done. They simply were able to weather the storm and not over-invest some of their ultimates here. Absolutely great here. Tesla, you know, some of those weaknesses were coming to light, right? We talked about how Tommy Knight can get a little too aggressive, isolating themselves, and it can cause problems here. Now that they've shown they can capitalize on it on a very momentum-based game mode, you know, there's still more for Munich to do here. They have to prove that they can do it consistently before they can really start considering this reverse sweep as a possibility.
Yeah, and as we get ready to head into map number 4, it's going to be New Queen Street. I'm very, very interested in what Munich eSports is planning to do here, because as much as I can respect them winning this map out, it was a very, very close map, right? Ultimately, I think the reason that map was as close as it was is, for as good as Berserk is at Sombra, as comfortable as they are on Sombra, I just don't think it's the move. I mean, even as the surge was coming late from Tesla, it was Berserk getting caught out on that Sombra a little bit more often than you would like. The Cassidy, I want to see the Cassidy more from Berserk, honestly, and even some more adaptations late from Munich, right? Because they let it slip a little bit at the end, able to clutch up on that final point where they had, you know, that slight ultimate advantage. But for New Queen Street, I just don't know if their game plan thus far is going to work.
Yeah, and so we'll have to see, you know, if there's any adaptations, right? I mean, Push, it's going to be a very interesting sort of setup with, like you said, how their game plans have been going so far for both teams, really. Because it is, again, going to be about these adaptations. We're going to have to see what sort of compositions and stuff we see. Munich, they've been shying away from the Orisa for a majority of the series, but that map, you know, sometimes, hey, listen, you lean towards the meta because it's meta for a reason. You looked good on it here, so I would not be surprised to see them keep running it. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, Tesla, right? Do they bend the knee? Do they try to just say, okay, we need to play Orisa back? Or do they continue to try to pilot some of these other brawl looks that we've seen from them, the Malga, the Junker Queen, whatever it may be?
All right, New Queen Street. We're seeing Tommy Knight and the rest of Tesla returning to their... not Hollywood. I'm a stupid, dumb idiot. It was Blizzard World where they ran a very similar composition. Ultimate's on the Tracer is interesting, though. They were running the Genji before that, and Munich will remain on the Orisa composition, but, you know, it's not the Cassidy, but I still like the Ashe pick here from Berserk. It's just going to provide infinitely more value than the Sombra could here. So as we head into this first fight, I'm looking for a big early push here. Jordan with the Disruptor shot, good for one. Tommy Knight antied, pinned to the wall, taken down, killed, and Munich eSports Mythic have come out swinging on New Queen Street.
Yeah, I mean, it was just very cool. Like, you were trying to follow up on an anti, I get that if you're Tommy, but you went way too deep there. You got yourself antied up. You didn't have your Kiriko there to give you a cleanse or anything like that. And, you know, you start to wonder, right? With Tesla's composition, you almost feel like Astro on the Ana is a bit of a wayward pick. Sort of out on its own, not really able to do a whole heck of a lot. But, you know, already back towards the bot, only 10 meters gained here as Munich, they had to wait for some respawns of their own.
Coming right back in here. Tommy contesting the bot, does not want to let that barrier get pushed a whole lot further than it already is. But Jordan, I mean, it's going to be a trade, but opens up the fight with a kill onto Astral. So the anti not going to be in play here early for Tesla. A lot of damage being put into Nox at the moment. Berserk pressured out on the high ground, but before that able to take down Chris before getting around the corner. See the Fortify popped by Nox on the Orisa, staying alive for the moment. Headshots onto the Tracer. We're going to see the recall be forced by Ultimates. Berserk able to get away with The coach gun stays alive, hits a nice little headshot there on one of those supports. And able to drop ultimates again. Mazurk has absolutely phoned it in, going over to a proper hit scan.
Yeah, and they're looking incredibly good, right? Because simply Tesla, with them being on the Malga, they don't have anything that can hide. Everything takes this permanent damage when you're throwing in these hit scan players. Mazurk, beautiful ball placement will get the honor out of the fight here. And, like, what is Tommy doing? Tommy's just in the backline for no reason.
Wall pops the cardiac overdrive. Not gonna find much with it. Gonna run through, gonna go down here, and that is just a brutal stagger here for Tesla, as the objective is very close to the checkpoint here.
Yeah, I mean, Tesla, they really need to get something going here. They simply are not getting it all there here. Beautiful nade, saving the Ash's life here. Mazurk will be able to live as the forward spawns are secured now from Munich. And they have tons of tools to keep working with, right? So it is going to be, again, on the side of Tesla to sort of create this opening with something of their own, like this Kitsune Rush.
Kitsune Rush, and there is a trade. Chris for Mazurk here early in this fight. Knocks backs down, but gets antied. Cannot weather that storm. So finally, Tesla will be able to break the attack of Munich and deny the forward spawns as they get it back across the middle before they respawn.
Yeah, and that's going to be super, super crucial, right? You only invested one ult, so now it's still a 4v4 ult fight that you're looking for this next one here. I think these Anas are playing just such a massive role, right? Whichever anti is able to connect onto a tank first, it seems like that's the team that's going to win these fights out. The upside for Tesla is with that Kiriko in play, that cleansing Suzu is there as long as it's not wasted somewhere else.
Now Terra Surge comes down, and I mean, a very, very interesting choice to drop the cage fight on top of that, but somehow Tommy is able to weather that storm and take down a couple more with them, and now Tesla will be very, very close to unlocking their very own checkpoint here to get the close spawns rolling.
I mean, it's something you never really see, right? The cage fight on top of the Terror Surge, but I actually really like it, right? Because the Orisa normally needs the rest of the team to come in and help put in some damage to secure kills with the Terror Surge, but isolating the rest of the team, warning them like, hey, listen, you want to come in here, you're going to be stuck in the cage, sort of scaring away that opposition. It was a massive factor in that fight here, so I really like it from Tommy.
All right, now Overclock popped with the nano boost as the Fortify faded away there for Nox. And it's going to be a lot of damage output here by Chris and Tommy as they take the lead for Tesla.
They take the lead. Both teams expending a lot of ultimates. The only thing really going to be towards online now is Mazurk with this Bob. Nox going to go over to Amalga for their own here. Not sure if this is exactly the play you want to work with. I feel like you guys just sort of left yourself staggered for a couple of these fights. You were getting hit with ult, so swaps may not be the answer, but we'll have to see.
Mazurk is able to answer with a pick onto Scarlet, but as the anti landed on top of Nox, it's going to be another fight win here for Tesla, essentially before the fight even starts.
Before that fight can truly break out, but yeah, it's still just going, and now the Bob's just gonna get burnt down.
Bob goes away, gets that healing a little bit. A lot of damage going into that Bob. Somehow they keep him up and alive there as Mazurk is going over to the Sombra for this last little bit of desperation here. Gonna stomp. The opposite side is Tommy Knight and the Kitsune Rush. They need to help Tommy stay in this fight. Gonna be able to drop the cage fight, but Tommy is very dead at this point in time. The cage fight, annoying right now, can't get out of it. I'm gonna break it, push against one more time from Munich.
Yeah, and, you know, finally stabilizing after everything that was thrown at them. You know, beautiful to see, but Tesla, they still have plenty of time in this match here to maintain that lead. They're going into this next fight with it overclocked. If Chris is able to find at least one pick with it to get the bot rolling the other way and keep these forward spawns in check, then, I mean, Munich eSports is going to have to start worrying about this clock.
All right, 3.5 minutes now. Getting late here as Tommy Knight goes down early. Mazurk, having switched over to the Sombra, gets the better of Tommy Knight. Gonna find the virus onto Astral. No health pack in sight. The virus does take it down, but Astral is able to get the trade in turn, as the close spawns will be gained here from Munich as they push Tesla out.
And they do it without having to invest too much here, right? It's just going to be Mythic who's having to get back as quick as they can here. A good ult advantage now for the side of Munich here. As long as they don't over-invest, they should be able to win this next fight and push themselves very close to taking the lead.
All right, Chris from the high ground trying to rain the damage down, looking for a target, but not quite finding one. Been a little bit sparse on enemies to shoot at as Chris backs down, on fire at the moment at the hands of Nox, and a very annoying Sombra up there as Dan will go down. Unfortunately for Tesla, that trade does not really help them that much as they lose another in turn. The cage fight down from Nox, as it will be Munich getting very, very close to this this parity score.
Yeah, and it's going to be so crucial that nobody on the side of Tesla staggers themselves right now. They need to simply just wait for their Malga to return to the fight. But they're going to be pushing into an EMP here, but it's dealt with!
Mythic just, I mean, came out of Invis just too soon to be comfortable there. Didn't really have the choice, unfortunately, as Ultimix is going to get into a skirmish here with Dan. Going to get that recall force out there. Now going back in, has the pulse bomb ready to go as Dan forced to use the recall as well. With Nox going down, the EMP comes out. It could be good as two Kitsune rushes cross their paths with each other. Pulse bomb will not find the target as the translocator is still in play for the Sombra. Mythic does end up going down, but Munich are going to win this fight out, and I mean, they're going to be able to grab the lead here if they're lucky.
I mean, yeah, but they're Malga's here with the cage. I mean, this could be an investment from Tommy Knight if they choose to do it, but we're going to have to see just how staggered out this is going.
Tommy Knight with the cage fight ready to go. Astral being dead is not a good thing for the moment. Will be returning back from spawn very, very promptly. Nano boost on to Nox and going to be able to drop Scarlet Snow early. Cage fight going to be thrown in on top of the bot, and Nox trying to break through this, and it will be Munich taking the lead at just under a minute on the clock.
And now Tesla, this is their worst case scenario, right? They invested everything trying to stop that from happening here, but now they have to worry about a full completion, and they're going to have to try to mirror it on the other side in the cage fight.
Nox throws in that ultimate in to this one. Gonna look for the Juno. Astral does end up falling. Nox gonna run in once again. Mythic good for 2-3 now for the Sombra, and that'll be Munich coming back in and completing New Queen Street. What a comeback that was for them as we now head to a map number 5.
Yeah, I mean, map number 5 is absolutely crazy here. The reverse sweep is definitely possible. Munich, after the halftime break, they definitely have been able to sort of figure things out and, you know, start punishing this over-aggression, these extensions that you've seen from the side of Tesla, where just the one member goes in, feeds their brains out at the wrong time. Tesla, you know, they're showing themselves still to be playing the exact same way all series long, which is good, but it just simply isn't good enough anymore. They have to try to adapt if they want to try to take this series away.
I mean, it is a very, very surging Munich eSports team right now. Coming in late, and, you know, for what I thought about Mythic and the Sombra earlier in the series, I thought it, you know, it got off to a slow start, but once Mythic was able to find the stride there late in the map especially, I mean, it was excellent, right? I'm happy to see that because I like Sombra, and so I'm you know, for Munich eSports, very, very strong finish to what looked like was a very rough map. But as we get ready to head into map number 5, we're going to cut to a short break one more time, and when we come back, we will crown a winner for this series. So stick around. We'll see who's going to get the win here.
Water is the softest and most yielding substance, yet nothing is better than water for overcoming the hard and rigid, because nothing can compete with it. Lao Tzu.
way. Name straight, new wave. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yours.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Reverse sweep very much in play for Munich eSports. 2 maps in a row after losing 2 maps in a row. Megalast, this series has gotten very, very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I was absolutely counting the side of Munich down and out after those first 2 maps, but we talked about it. They needed to make adjustments, and adjustments they made. They started punishing the overaggression. They started making Tesla realize, hey, listen, you can't just walk all over us. But there's still more work to be done. We've tied it up 2-2. Tesla, though, now has to be the ones to adapt further. They have to be the ones to figure out this new Munich that they've been facing.
Yep, so now we're headed to map number 5. It's Rialto for the final map. I don't expect to see a whole lot different here. I think that we have a chance to see Nox return to the Winston, but it's going to be very, very interesting because we've seen a lot of looks from both of these teams. So Rialto, it's a pretty flexible map, so I'm really interested to see what they're going to roll out with.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to sort of be the question here, right? We've seen both teams sort of leaning more towards brawl picks in these later maps, but, like you said, anything can happen here. It would be interesting to see if we return back to the Widowmaker styles that we saw earlier in the series. I feel like it was a fun little Widow duel happening back and forth, but, again, it's one of those things where teams, they have to be feeling it, they have to be leaning into it. As we are getting our first look at things, I believe it'll be, Ultimix that you can look at a little bit more seriously here on the Echo. Sort of the team as a whole. I don't know why I specified just Ultimix for Tesla, but yeah, I mean, just it looks like a more standard composition. The Bap Zen, very interesting play here for the defense as well. I'd like to see it. It provides a good amount of damage for a backline, as well as applying that Discord to make the bursting targets that much easier. Meanwhile, Munich, for their offense, they're starting off with a Diva, that Widowmaker. It's key, it's component, but how long will it last?
All right, well, we'll get our answers in spades as we begin map number 5 on Rialto. This Diva, very interesting. Just waiting for the opportunity to try and hop up to that high ground at some point. Larakia, very low, and even lower is a Mazurk on the Widowmaker, just going to get taken down promptly by the Orisa of Tommy Knight. Immediately switches over to the Soldier 76 after the respawn, and it's just a very tempered push here for Munich eSports as they wait for their players to come back.
Yeah, and simply waiting is going to be the name of the game here for the attackers, right? These first 2 corners, it's always difficult, right? You do need like pretty much a full team fight kill, and that could be the start of it.
All right, back in. Ultimix dropping Junior Dan early there, not being great. Gonna respawn and come back on the Sojourn this time. So very, very interesting swaps here as the shots are good for Chris, but not quite able to find the final blow there onto Larakia. Now turning their attention to Mazurk, who has to use those legs to run away as Mazurk puts in some damage from the far side off angle. Gonna run up to the high ground, doesn't quite know that it's Astral that is up there, and now finally gonna feed them a Helix rocket. And Munich eSports, after their early swaps, going to be good for their the capture here.
Mazurek, this is my plea to you. Until Sombra gets buffed, just don't play Sombra. You're so damn good on everything else you've shown us so far today. I mean, that flank from the Soldier 76, just chef's kiss. Absolutely amazing to see here. And now Munich, they're going to not only be able to gain control heading into point B, but they're going to take all of this positioning up on the high ground, make it that much more difficult for Chris on this Ashe to set up, or Ultimix to get in for looking for these picks on the Echo.
All right, Berserk on the high ground, putting in the damage. Oh my goodness, so much damage into the Orisa. Gonna drop down to the low ground to try and catch the staggers out. The Echo going to be annoying, but breaks the ankles of Nox. Mazurk goes down a little bit too overextended there, and now Munich will just get all the percentage or all the meters that they can before they gotta back out.
all of the meters and then some right now. And Tesla, I mean, it really is looking like they don't have any other plans, right? They're going to keep playing the same style where Tommy gets really aggressive and Munich seems to be prepared for it. Heading into this next fight, though, lots of ultimates for either side, so this really can be a coin flip, depending on who can find that value quicker.
All right, well, Mythic gets volleyed by Astral one more time. Just caught out so early, and that's a lot of damage, and I mean, even more damage from Scarlet dropping that Amp Matrix is going to force Munich back and around the corner.
And, I mean, good on Munich to respect this for the time being. But again, that's only one ult thrown in. There's still plenty for both sides to commit to this fight here. Bit of an off angle from Loot here, looking for a potential anti-nade engage. But the question is, will it connect?
All right, Milo hitting a big two-person anti there. As Nox goes in, has the extra lifeline as Munich has got 5 ultimates in the bank, throws out the self-destruct. Gonna claim ultimates, but Bob being thrown in by Chris is going to kill Nox before they can get back into mech, and Chris is the savior this time too for the Ashe, and they're going to be able to force Munich back into the spawn, make that 3.
Yeah, I mean, and again, it's really important to take this high ground away, right? If you're giving Chris these opportunities, the positioning, Chris has been hitting these shots all series long, right? These hits against on both sides have been absolutely impressive. Munich now with an interesting approach, right? Giving up the Diva all of that defense matrix, all of that shielding potential, and going over to the Malga here. Sure, this will help you burst down Tommy a little bit better, but ultimately it's going to leave your team a lot more vulnerable to the rest of Tesla.
All right, back in Nox on the Malga back here. The orbital ray being very strong. The healing, the damage was excellent to put Munich ahead here. And with 2 minutes on the clock and Tommy Knight being the last man standing, gonna pop the Terra Surge. Anti burn to pieces. There has to be a switch coming through. No shot they don't, right?
Yeah, I mean, that if they do not switch after a Terror Surge like that, you start to question any and everything that's going on here. As now a duplicate is coming through, but the point's already been capped.
So that duplicate's going to be dispatched very quickly, as will Ultimix, and I mean, we're seeing it in real time. Tesla is falling apart.
Yeah, I mean, they're unraveling. There's no other word for it, right? You can clearly tell they're stressed. They're trying to swap, make hero plays. They're now on a Kiriko Zen backline, and sure, Tommy's been getting aggressive, gets little picks like that, but that lack of healing is going to be monstrous against a composition like Munich has, where they have this constant fire damage from the Sojourn and the Malga. It's all just going to be firing on them all the time.
So backing up as Mazurk has gone back over to the Sombra for the moment, caught out there, able to back out and away. Bob going to enter the back line of Munich, asleep onto our Omnic friend, will you know, deny some of that time as they wait him out before they can, you know, really start to play how they want to play. Tommy Knight from the high ground not going to find a connection with that spear. Now, with the nano boost, Myloot has that ultimate ready to go. Could be very pivotal. But Dan also has one of an ultimate of their own in the overclock. Looking for the opportunity to come out, sidesteps the spear there. Minute 45 on the clock as Munich tries to find something rolling, but they just can't, as Nox gets it blown to bits by the Storm Arrow. And even with the trade on to Chris, without the tank, it's not going to have much value.
Yeah, and again, these trades back and forth here, I mean, it's been constant here, but Tesla has been finally putting up some form of defense, but they have pretty much expended any and everything besides their Transcendence. But don't get me wrong, Transcendence is a solid ultimate, but it's not going to live through some of these bursty or ultimate like the Overclock, or potentially even the damage boost coming from its orbital ray. So we will have to see how this works out in Europe.
Right, Munich, Nox just jumps into the back line. It is just eviscerated, evaporated, destroyed, dominated. And now as the ultimates come out here, there will be a trade. So still an even fight, and even without Nox, somehow, some way, the nano boost is able to put them over the edge.
And I mean, again, it comes down to that Transcendence usage, right? It's when you lose that massive source of healing, Astral had to use it, and the engage there, it just means the rest of the team wasn't there. So now you're heading towards the final fight, trying to contest.
Terra Surge in, followed up by the Dragon Strike, and Nox is able to get rid of Tommy Knight. The EMP came out, but Mazurk died right after, and now 20 seconds on the clock. It's going to be desperate as we head into this final fight.
Yeah, I mean, you also just staggered out loot incredibly badly here, so it is going to be Munich missing that Ana for the final fight. Probably going to end up going over to a Lucio or something just to try to get this touch, but I don't even know if anybody can make it.
Mazurk probably will gonna pop out of that invis, but no disengage tool, so they're just gonna explode Ultimix with 2 on the Storm Arrow. Tommy dealing with a very, very annoying Winston, cannot get to the point. Myloot, the last man standing. That is 5 dead for Munich eSports. And Megalas, I'm slamming my head into my desk. Mazurk, what are you doing? Get off of the Sombra, man. You look so good on Ashe, on Widow, on Cassidy. It's the definition of insanity. It's the same thing happening over and over. As soon as he switches to the Sombra, they just lose every bit of momentum. I'm losing my mind.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where, again, it's not Mazurk playing bad. As we've said on those other roles, Mazurk is pounding possibly the best DPS player in the lobby throughout this matchup here. It's just the matter of the way Sombra is nowadays. You know, you truly have to adapt your entire identity as a Sombra. You're no longer a flanker. You have to be sort of a frontliner. But as a frontliner, you do less damage than Cassidy. You do less damage than Soldier unless you get specific hack targets. So you can't disengage as well as a Tracer on the flank. You can't, like, Sombra literally lacks all of her identity right now. She can't do anything better than any other hero in the game. It's just absolutely a fool's pick to try to go in. The only time you can make a Sombra work is if you're up against specific comps like a Wrecking Ball. But looking towards compositions, I don't see anything but the horse here if we're looking for animal tanks. It's going to be the Orisa all day, every day here. Tesla, meanwhile, on their attack, they are going to have the official double sniper setup with the Widowmaker and the Hanzo, so higher pick potential but less damage overall versus Munich, who has this Sojourn and this Ashe. And please, Mazurk, you'll hit those shots. I know you will. Just stay on hit scan. Do not go Sombra.
All right, attack for Tesla now. Going over to the other Shimada is Ultimix here. It's going to be Genji for Tesla as they begin their attack, getting around the corner. And there's Chris with a drop on it to Mazurk. Headshot there onto the Ashe, as Munich eSports will just have to be tempered here, play it safe, and try to back up. A nice little sleep there on the Ultimix, as Myloot is actually able to drop that Genji very, very efficiently and playing very safely in the corner up there. As another grapple shot gonna take Lurakia very low, and that is a certified Violet moment. Why did they jump?
Why do they jump? But I mean, better question, why is this Orisa again on the flank? Tommy Knight constantly finding value with this, and Munich has to remember to punish this time and again here. Nox will be the one punished for it, though. Incredibly low. Do they manage to live? No. The answer is no.
Oh, well, neither team has a tank at the moment, as Mazurk has returned on the Widowmaker, has found a couple of pivotal shots there. Jordan with the disruptor shot, good for one more after that, and now Chris able to drop Mazurk in that Widow duel. No, they know where the Genji is at. You see Junior Dan wants to take care of it, but Chris for 2. And now the respawns coming in from the side of Munich are going to have to be big here as the point begins to rule closer and closer to that capture. 0.79 meters, it will stop as they contest it. Mazurk pops to the sides. Chris antied and very low, able to shove back the Orisa, but somebody's still on that point right now. Tommy Knight getting the other Orisa very, very low, not going to be able to find a kill. Well, actually will be. I thought they'd be able to, you know, get out of that circumference of the Terra Surge, but Tommy Knight good for 2, and that, you know, after these late staggers will be the point capture.
Yeah, I mean, they get the point capture in the end. It wasn't without a fight here, though. Tesla is going to be getting rolling, like you said, though, and now it's going to be control of this high ground. Oh, no. Oh, no. Fletch. What's going on? Why do I see a Sombra again?
There's a distinct lot of purple, way more than should be on this screen right now. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, the late switches worked on New Queen Street, I suppose. So we'll see if this works out. Mazurk gets aggressive, anteed up. They know where Mazurk is at. They know where this Sombra is located, and tracked down is Mazurk. And with 3 minutes and 45 seconds on the clock and an orbital ray coming from the heavens, Nox is exploded, and Munich eSports is losing every bit of momentum that they've had.
Yeah, and I mean, again, we talked about that momentum shift here. Now Munich going over to a dodge composition, but it seems like this is just going to roll through. No contest means that there's almost 5 minutes in the bank for Tesla. They just have to basically finish the map here, and they're going to get another decisive team fight victory.
All right, I mean, 2 dead, both DPS in the grave here early, as a push back into the spawn of Munich is the play. A Terror Surge in the hands of Tommy Knight, should they choose to use that ultimate. Myloot with a nano boost ready to go, but Chris is able to dispatch of Dan, one of the pivotal nano targets that we've seen for Myloot all series long. Mazurk looking a little bit lost, doesn't know where to go, what to do, who to hack, who to throw the virus on. Now the orbital ray gonna come down from Larakia. I mean, this could be a big ultimate, but as Mazurk it just throws up the translocator as a Hail Mary, and unfortunately it's Chris with the interception.
And so now, again, this is going to be such an important disengage here. The rest of Munich, nobody else can die. If they want one more fight, trying to take this. Actually, Jordan's going to pop the overclock here, just trying to get involved, but this might be a mistake.
It is, unfortunately. Nano boost now onto Nox. Dragon Blade pulled. Larakia cut. Sleep onto Ultimix. But unfortunately, Mazurk is also dead. That nano boost will be fading away very, very promptly. Dan coming back on the Tracer, but with 4 meters left to go, there will not be a touch, and Tesla will slam the door in the face of Munich eSports Mythic and their reverse sweep hopes. And I just don't know what else to say, because I mean, it was just, they had that series in the bag, right? They had the momentum. They have the skill. Like, Tesla does not severely outclass them in terms of mechanics. Unfortunately, it was just horrifically bad decision making, time after time after time. Those first 2 maps, the last map, Munich, you have a superstar of a hit scan player. You need to get it through their skull that Sombra's bad right now. Like, really, really bad. Because Mazurk is excellent on everything else they played. But as for Tesla, they come in, they adapt, they see the mistakes that Munich are making, and they're making mistakes of their own. That's not to say that they're playing perfectly, right? Because they most certainly were not. This wouldn't have been close to a reverse sweep if they were. But it was less about which teams are making these critical mistakes and which team is taking advantage of the critical mistakes. And for these 3 maps, it was just Tesla all the way.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we've talked about it all series long, right? That mistakes, right? The biggest one being Tommy on this tank going in way too deep, getting way too aggressive here. And, you know, when they were off the Sombra, they were able to punish it, right? You saw picks coming through, able to do all of this damage, but, you know, at the end of the day, the match is in the history books. It is what it is here. Tesla comes out with that victory despite the mistakes they were making here, and, you know, great to see from them. We'll actually get to hear from them, so if you'll give us just a moment, we'll set up this interview, but make sure to come back on the other side of this break to hear what Astral has to say about Tesla's victory.
All right, welcome back, and we've got Astral of Tesla to talk to us here about this match. Astral, you'll get the win tonight. How are y'all feeling?
Yeah, wonderful. There was a really, really good win for us. We wanted to finish the tournament the better possible, and yeah, all the team is very happy for this win. It was tough, but it was a really great win for us.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, a bit of a Giga Banger series there, back and forth. You know, in terms of going through the series, right? I think the most notable thing from you is I want your thoughts on this as the, you know, one of the support players. Tommy was getting a little bit in there on the Orisa, some other tanks as well. You know, is this something that Tommy always does, or was this just sort of a today type of deal?
Yeah, Tommy is that kind of player that he really likes Orisa right now. It's very strong for him, and we are adapting to his playstyle. And he's also getting on the Mauga. It's still a composition we are trying, but we saw some success on the cup first maps. So yeah, it's tough to follow Tommy sometimes because he really is aggressive, but we like his playstyle, and I think that was a really good option for the win.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, you know, looking towards, again, you guys won, but, you know, again, it was this 5-map series here. You almost had that reverse sweep looming over your consciousnesses. In the heat of the moment, you know, was there moments where you guys felt flustered, or was there maybe somebody able to calm it all down and keep everybody composed?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm gonna lie, on the last map, after the first round of the attackers, we are kind of getting tilted, and we just self-talk to us. We said, okay, guys, let's chill out, let's get the thing done. We need to go and cap 3 points, and we get the win. So we focus up, and we play the better of us. We are like 1000% focused.
All right, for sure. Astral, though, now, unfortunately, I think mathematically, even with the win today, I believe y'all's season is going to come to an end here at 4-4, just missing the top 4 in the Masters tier here. But looking back on your season, like, how are y'all feeling about how the season went and how it finished?
Well, we surely are still satisfied of our positioning because we did not expect to get this far on the tournament. To be fair, we grew a lot as a team, as a group in this tournament. We expected to play in Diamond tier, I believe. Then they merged Diamond tiers, if I remember correctly, and we get in the Masters tiers. We did not expect to get this well in this tier, and honestly, me and the team are happy to have come on the 5th place, and probably it's 5th. So yeah, it was still a growing opportunity, and I'm really satisfied with that.
Yeah, so now looking forward to the future, do y'all have any plans on coming back later for you know, next season maybe?
Yeah, probably, because we always do tournaments, and I think we will for sure be in the next season. So yeah, get tuned to see us again.
All right, Astral, now before we send you out, is there anything else that you want to talk about that maybe we didn't, or any shout outs you want to give?
Well, I for sure shout out to all my team. I think somebody's in chat. I shout out to Jolly, our friend on the team. So I shout out to him. He watched all the game during the series, and yeah, overall that's it. I shout out Overwatchita, our founder of our org, and that's it. That's all.
All right, Astral, thank you for coming to come talk to us, and we wish y'all the best of luck in whatever you and Tesla decide to do in the future.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, Mega. That will do it for us here on the EU side. What I thought was going to be a 3-0 sweep for Tesla turned out to be a denied reverse sweep for Tesla. They get the win right at the finish line there. Very close series in the end. That was definitely a very, very interesting series.
Yeah, I mean, interesting series start to finish, but ultimately there has to be a winner, has to be a loser, and you know, Tesla comes away with it at the end of the day here, and it's a little bit sad, because like obviously, happy for Tesla they won, but it's the end of their regular season. It's the end of we're in that last week of the regular season, Fletch, and this is obviously we're building up towards the hype of playoffs coming soon, but it's starting to really hit you, like the whole regular season, it's just sort of come and gone.
Yep. I mean, it's over, right? We've got what, 2 more days of regular season gameplay. It's basically over, right? So getting ready for the playoffs. We are, that's going to be a lot of fun as we head towards the actual tournament bracket. But for now, we are going to head out. There might be something tonight, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Megalast probably knows more about that than me do, because me did not look at the schedule.
Hey, yeah, there's a 8 p.m. game. Can't remember which game, but I'll be there casting it. It'll be great.
Oh,
there you go.
Yuck.
Our lovely voice. The Diamond game, NA Diamond, Queen of Diamonds versus the Brownies, who, it'll be an interesting little game, potentially trying to upset the #1 seed here just for funsies for the Brownies, but that will have to be seen later tonight. Of course, before we fully outro it, I do want to thank Echo. Everything you saw today, production, observing, all of it, and then a bag of beans was Echo, so big props to that for running it all behind the scenes. And
of course, it was her bloodlusted version. So
I don't
we
think
got
the viewers
we
know
get
that bit. They don't know the lore on that.
That's not my problem though. Yep. Echo did an excellent job today. Little solo gig here tonight, but she did great. So thank you all for watching, and we will see y'all later tonight.
crazy, Malin. I'm not crazy, Malin. I've just been in a very bad mood for 40 years. 40 years.
Carpe diem.